Hello, my name is Bruce. This is my wife, Connie. We've been managers here for 5 years, living here for 8 years. When I started as manager, we only had 2 families here with children. And now we have somewhere around 15 or 20 children in the park now. We've grown as a community closer together, helping each other out, looking out for each other, keeping crime down. I try to guide people where I can, when I can. They come to me, and if I can help them, I'll help them out. I'm a reverend, so that goes too, and talking to folks about their eternal life.
But when 2 armed men put his safety and the safety of his entire community in jeopardy, he got a rude awakening. So it all started when Bruce was simply doing maintenance around his home.
Noticed the truck coming in. It was a tow truck. It was kind of out of the ordinary.
Bruce realized that the 2 tow truck operators were physically attacking his neighbor. He tried to de-escalate the situation and repeatedly asked the 2 men to stop.
So I started walking up there to see, as manager of the park, if there was anything I could help them out with. You know, anything I could do for them, call cops or whatever. Saw the tow truck come around the corner up there and stop by the car. Pretty soon I hear a lot of yelling and screaming and waving arms, and the car was parked over here, the tow truck was parked over here on the road. I was back there by that arch at the end of that other trailer back there. The car owner was in physical altercation with one of the tow truck operators. I had seen him throw his arm up and turn away from the tow truck operator. I didn't realize exactly what happened. Next thing, the car owner yells at me to watch out. The tow truck operator stuck his hand in his pocket rather abruptly, looking at the car owner, and then he looked over at me, and I just had a gut feeling, just a knot in my stomach. Something was going to go wrong real bad. I proceeded to protect myself, anticipated that he was reaching for a weapon, a gun, and I had brought mine out. And I told him don't pull it out because he had his hand in his pocket over something. And I just told him not to bring it out, just needed to get in his tow truck and leave. I didn't want the situation to get any worse. The man, I told him to keep his hand in his pocket until he got to his truck. And then I allowed him to pull his weapon out and put it away because I just wanted them to leave. When I called dispatch at Lake County Sheriff, I told them that I was in fear for my life and for other people being hurt.
He was kind, he was compassionate. The situation he found himself in was one that it was merely because he was going to help a neighbor who he perceived was in trouble.
It was an unnerving episode. I never dealt with the police in this way. I'm glad I had USCCA there to help me. Went and stood over here on the concrete and waited for the police to show up, and they did, believe me, in force. First responding police department sorted everybody out, who was who and who was doing what. Lake County Sheriff showed up and they asked me, who's got the gun? And I said, I did. And then they had me go over here laying face down.
The police searched the tow truck and discovered the handgun. They even spoke to other neighbors who had witnessed the entire incident. But at the end of the day, Bruce was the one taken to jail.
I had a knock on the door, and then I went, got in the car with some other people and wanted to know if I knew my husband was sitting on the ground up there handcuffed, and I said no.
When they had me on the ground, I already had my wallet out with my USCCA card. I was trying to get a hold of them on the phone. They were intent on handcuffing me.
Even though he feared for his life and was coming to the aid of a friend, Bruce was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. It didn't matter that the other men were armed. In fact, they were allowed to leave the scene.
The officer came to the window of the car that I was in. He said, I was told to give you this card to call USCCA for your husband.
With that one call, Bruce got the help he desperately needed.
Talked to a lady, and she said she would contact an attorney for me, so he would be getting back with me. She made me feel relaxed, for sure.
I spoke more with his wife because she was the only one who had access to a telephone initially. And we were really concerned about getting Bruce bonded out. He had never been to jail before.
The attorney called me and said that he'd already talked to somebody about Bruce and that he'd be taking action and getting him out as soon as possible.
People were reaching out to my office, giving testimonials about Bruce, of how helpful he is, how much of a good guy he is. You know, the fact that he was a veteran, the fact that he would go out of his way to help folks in the community. They really went out of their way to make sure I had the ammunition, no pun intended, that I needed to defend him. He was a good guy, and that I could tell the police that this is not the type of guy that would do what they were accusing him of. Getting that feedback from the community was instrumental in getting the case dismissed and having him exonerated of the charges.
When my wife called the USCCA, they posted bond and I was out in 4 hours. That was a phenomenal experience for me. I was able to sleep in my own bed that same night. It's almost indescribable feeling of relief and the feeling of confidence having a lawyer in a situation like this and having the help and the resources provided to me by the USCCA.
It's absolutely necessary that a competent attorney gets involved immediately to steer the investigation, to interact with police, to make sure that there's ability, that bridge between the accused and law enforcement so that the communication can be had.
I highly recommend the USCCA membership to anybody who's carrying a weapon. You leave home with your weapon, leave home with the USCCA in your wallet.